puts you in the future. You mean the past? Exactly.
Hello everyone, Heba here. Thank you for being here today. Our new podcast, Silver Sanctum podcast, is going to be really interesting. I hope you can stay till the end. There's some real juicy topics that don't often get talked about you won't actually find anything on the internet in relation to these topics. So I decided to make a podcast and put them all together in one. And it's going to be an introduction more than an in-depth talk about specifically the Ascension process, the techniques, Ascension process, the solar flash, the Christic Spiral, the Amenti blue flame, and the halls of Amenti. So what happened and where we're heading with this. So that's where I'm going today in this podcast. I hope you can stick with us to the end. And like always, please share, subscribe, and like, and put your comments in below so that we know that you're here with us, and we'd love to hear what you think. So I want to say also thank you for all of you for persevering with us through last week's events. As you would know, maybe you don't, but if you would like to know the details of what happened, you can look at the posts that we've put on YouTube in the community section. A lot of the YouTube videos that we've been uploading have been taken down. All of them, I think there was, not sure, maybe 12 or 14. They were all taken down because of copyright issues. And we personally do not agree with this material being copyrighted, because it belongs to all of us, doesn't it? I mean, we're basically sharing. We're not saying this material's ours. We're not editing it. We're not changing anything. We're simply sharing for all to learn and benefit. Anyhow, that's happened. So we have a new plan, and this plan will be revealed soon. I think it's a great plan. Matt and I have we'll be coming together on this one, and we'll be re-uploading in a different format, if you like. So to delve into today's topic, the first question I'd like to ask is, what do you think your path is at the moment? Do you think you're on the path of Bio-regensis, or do you think most of humanity are on the path of degeneration, so digressing in their DNA and, like they say, going backwards, although there's no such thing. But, in terms of DNA, we can actually, instead of building those DNA blocks, we destroy those DNA codex and lose them. And it's not that we can't get them back, but the process of regenerating DNA takes a very, very long time. What's special about this time we're in now is the techniques available it's a shortcut, but not just a shortcut, a very accelerated technology to basically get out of here, not as an escape, but, if you've been following my posts and my podcast, a huge part of Earth is actually going into Phantom. So because of the damage in the grid works, that unfortunately cannot be restored. So a big part of Earth grid works is, and there's nothing we can do about that. But thankfully, a big part of Earth's grid works have been restored and are being restored right now. And let's just look at the positive here, and let's say we're on that positive path, and we're, I can feel it. I can feel a lot of people that are drawn to this material are on the positive, and we're rebuilding, and we're working on plasma body activations and anchoring D12 energy, which is much needed. And so if we remain and we continue doing what we're doing, then we're definitely on the good path, or the path of bio-regensis. So I want to delve a little bit into today's topic, like I said, into explaining the ascension path. So a lot of people, especially in the New Age community, they talk about 5D ascension, and they sort of just limit it to that. They don't go beyond 5D. I mean, we know that that's the next step, but like, if you have a way to go to 12D, why would you limit your ascension and your understanding and your evolution to the 5D realm? Mind you, there's been a lot of corruption on the 5D plane. Anyway, I'm going to talk about all this, and is the 5D ascension to Tara still an option for us? So that's one of the things that I'll be discussing. Now, a lot of you would have a sensation and also know that we're living in a matrix, and sometimes this matrix may seem holographic and unreal. I mean, we have a 14-year-old daughter, and she's always saying that she feels everyone's not real around her, and she feels like she actually, when she bumps into people at school, she feels like she actually didn't see them, or they didn't see her. It's like there's something happening that's splitting people for sure. And that's not to say that, we're better than anybody, or, we're more evolved, or, but there's definitely something scientific and spiritual happening. And that splitting is true. This splitting is actually taking place. Not everyone that you meet is actually carries a human soul or human potential, which is a 12D template. You'll get a big shock when you start to see people for who they truly are, and that's not to encourage duality or looking down on people that are not from your race or have the same beliefs or anything like that. But that distinction is very crucial, because when you understand that, you can understand yourself better and your templating and where you come from. Understanding your templating is not just understanding that you have a mind, body, and spirit, and it's knowing your multidimensional anatomy and knowing exactly where you come from, like who seeded us and why, and the history of mankind and the history of humans goes back billions of years, not, as science tells us nowadays that we're like here for like 70,000 years. That's pretty recent compared to the knowledge we've got from the Voyagers material, from Ashiana Dean. So sometimes on this plane we interact with people who are NPCs or non-player characters, fake drones, and the Matrix people. Some are programmed clones, some are just walking vessels, empty on the inside. So the importance here is to draw your mind and attention to this fact that a lot of the people that you see around you are just playing characters in the Matrix. They're here to just fill a spot, and they've been programmed to do so, and they've been programmed to have a hive mind, so a collective mind, but not in a constructive way, just a mind that basically a lower end of the mind that follows a certain order and certain directions. And you can easily spot that, they didn't experiment on people, a social experiment, they called it, on people that don't think, they just follow orders. So there's these people that would sit in a doctor's clinic, and one of the guys who was doing the experiment, he would stand up, and everyone looked at him just standing up, and then they all started to stand up. They didn't know why, they didn't question, they just all stood up. He sat down, they sat down. And then he stood up again, and then they stood up again. He sat down, they sat down, and it was like that. And he kept doing it. And the more people that walked through the door and joined the group, they joined in what was happening. The standing up, the sitting down, no questions asked. People were wondering why they were doing it, but they're still doing it. And that's what's happening right now, is people aren't questioning anything. They're following orders unconsciously and not questioning anything. So we're here as the indigos and as the ones that carry the human templating. As we start activating, we're going to start leading people into this new realm of imagination, which is where the Magi nation comes from. Imagination is in reference to the Magis, the Magi Grails, who are if you like, the elders of the human race, because they've been there, done that. They have a lot of experience in life, and they can really lead through their hearts and minds. They have a lot of wisdom. They're more activated on a soul level. So yeah, I made a special podcast on indigos. If you'd like to listen to that, go ahead. It's really interesting. So yeah, the drones and the matrix people really are just they're dot adjusted to have a hive mind, conditioned to derail us from the spiral, from the Christic Spiral timeline. And this is where the true ascension pathway is in the crystal spiral timeline, and through the Amenti blue flame portals. So right now also you may notice that there's, contrary to the hive mind, drones, fake people, if you like, there are also the guardian forces. These guardian forces are like the defenders on Earth. And this movement is being generated right now. So what we're doing here is gathering together, the gathering of the tribes, and we're decided we're going to do this irrespective of the risks, I suppose. If you felt that you've been activated right now, is because of the guardian forces coming together. It's the defender force, because when you see a force that's pushing, there's always bound to be a defender force. And it's sad that it's this way, because we really, as defenders of the stargates, us being the indigos, the humans, we want to defend. It's like comes naturally in us when we defend something that's like righteous, or when we defend truth, or when we're out there, defending the right of humans and animals and, the earth sites. We're defending all that. It's because it's coming natural to us, and we're being activated to stand in that defender position. So it's basically we're protecting the law of one, that we all have the right to be here together, and for our free will to exist without being stomped upon, and without, we have the right to be here in full sovereignty, in freedom, and without the need to fight with anyone for it. So yeah, there are high level light beings also that are part of the defender forces. We call them the founder races. And they're the guardians or the founder races that have given us this material. And it's not new, it's very ancient, but we're getting this material back on the CDT plates, which are Cloister Dora Terra, which are the holographic discs. And from these discs, the codes are being interpreted in our language so we can understand it. So what we're doing right now is we're interpreting ancient language and getting hold of ancient techniques to help us ascend, because we made a Palladorian agreement, which is to return here and restore the original templating, whether it be the Earth's Templar mechanics, a Templar system, or ours, which is connected always to the Earth. So we're here to restore that 12-dimensional frequency minimum. So we're back, and we are called the defender force because we're doing that. We're defending. We're not here to pick on anyone or fight with anyone. We're here to defend what naturally and inherently belongs to us. So we're here to complete that next step of grid work repair, basically, and despite the risks, we're here to carry on the mission, to continue the mission, and we will not give up. So we will not be giving up on uploading the Voyages material and the rest of it that we call Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order teachings, because the Emerald Order is back, and we're here to do this despite the risks. We're here to do this and carry on with the mission. Now I want to talk about the Halls of Amenti. So what are the Halls of Amenti? Halls of Amenti are basically portal passages, so they connect dimension to another. They were created over 25 million years ago, and they're like the interdimensional doorways or pathways that hold every race's original blueprint that would allow all humans to potentially return back to their 12 to 15 dimensional consciousness. So when we go through these halls of Amenti, we become activated and we regain at original 12 to 15D template. Anyone who has the codex in potentiation, so the template, who goes through the halls of Amenti will become activated. And this can be accessed by anyone who seeks them, but first must pass through the blue flame in order to transmute the form and appear on Tara. So what we do is we pass through, we get the codex of sound and light frequencies, and we transform into our the Merkaba, and then that Merkaba will transfer us from one dimension to the next, or one density level to the next, and then so we disappear from here and reappear on Tara. That's basically how it works. Excuse me. The pattern of energy, this pattern of energy has the appearance of a standing wave pattern, so it's like a wave, and it's composed of fifth and fourth and fifth dimensional frequencies. Appears to be like an electric blue flame. So we see the blue flame, we go through the blue flame first. It's like a pale shade of green, and it's about several inches in height, so that's the blue flame. The blue flame constitutes Earth's portion of Tara, but not Tara as in the rocks and stones. It's Tara's morphogenetic field, the energy field, which was brought into the sphere of Amenti by the 5 cloister races, original cloistered races, and the priesthoods of Mu and ancient Lemurian, ancient Atlantis. So these fifth dimensional frequency patterns held in the blue flame allow for the halls of Amenti to open. So they open, and the seeding of the evolution of the 5 remaining root races could begin on Earth. So they pass through and we pass through and we evolve that way. And this flame was restored in the sphere of Amenti. As long as it was there, and as long as it's there, the portals between Earth's dimensional period and Tara remain open. Okay, so that's basically the plan, was the plan. Now, Plan A, Ascension Earth, and the Bridge Zone project to move the entire planet out of the fallen angelics' frequency fences failed in 2003. So to move everyone out of the fallen angelics' clause was not successful because the Amenti stargates were compromised. They knew of the stargates through which we could access and evolve, but they actually manipulated these stargates. They got a hold of it, manipulated those stargates, and it became compromised. And when something becomes compromised, something of this magnitude that's potentially very risky and could send the Earth into a pole shift, what the Guardians do is they force shut the They shut it down to prevent the solar system from like being sucked into what we call a phantom, or the fallen hell matrix, which is called the Wizardek or the Wizardrak, through the fallen angelic's black Metatronic heart implants. So these are the implants that are put through the grid works, and too many that become activated actually suck the whole thing into the phantom matrix. So we have no choice to bioregenerate anymore because there's no higher frequencies. We just go down the spiral and we end up into the black hole system, which then falls entirely and gets, has a finite timeline on it, and then it goes back to space dust, basically. So what is this Ascension timeline that we're on now? So there's a few options for Ascension. It's not all bad news. We wouldn't be here doing this if it was all bad and doom and gloom. And sorry if this is, bad news, but, we're here to share the truth, and that's actually what's happening. So there's no way to sugarcoat this. So anyway, we just have to do what we can, and then, the rest is out of our control. So just remember, we have in our possession the highest technologies that you can have, or any of us can have right now, and it's the D12 frequencies. Remember, everything's run on frequency, whether everything, any technology that's built not using D12 frequency is nothing next to the D12 frequency. And it doesn't take long to activate it. I mean, if you put your mind to it, 60 days in a row, D12 frequency, 10 minutes a day, this should keep your shield up and strengthens your D12. And then you can start seeing things change around you in your reality field. And that's from experience, from observation, and also from learning from the material. They say it like it's, when Ashiana talks about D12, she doesn't say maybe or this might happen. She says this will happen. So it's a guaranteed method to ascension. But if the D12 gets compromised, because this shield cannot be held for too long, or otherwise you just have to keep doing it every minute to activate D12 and hold your shield up. So that's impossible, obviously. So what we have to do is we have to also do plasma body activations, and we also have to know where the stargates are, so we can access those stargates when the grid works fall completely into the black hole. So parts of the Earth will fall, parts of the Earth will rise into, through the 369 Amoraea passage, which is the, through the gyrodromes and the special. Sorry, there's my dog out there making a mess. Anyway, back to the Ascension timeline. What was that I was saying is that we link the frequency bands 1 to 7 within the morphogenetic field, and a planet or a person. Remember, the planet's also a being of its own right. So the planet can also ascend and evolve out of the matrix-based system and into pure consciousness. And this is why we're here, to learn how to do that once again, and to help Earth and help all mankind, and the negatives too, who want to come back onto the path of ascension, because whether they've fallen by accident or whether they on purpose done bad things and now they regret it and they want to join eternal life, back on knowing themselves and being good guys again, then that's also available to them. We always welcome people that want to heal themselves and help themselves again, even if they messed up before. This is the evolutionary path. So this is the path for anyone and everyone who genuinely wants to evolve. The blue flame staff of Amenti, and not the blue flame of Archangel Michael. Please don't mix the two, because in New Age teachings, or no teachings, I should say, they are pushing now the Archangel Michael agenda, which is the opposite to the blue flame Amenti, Staff of Amenti. It's completely different. It's the reverse of it. So through the blue flame Staff of Amenti, stored within the time warp morphogenetic field, it actually represents the keys to the evolution of the planet in our solar system. If you have chosen the Christic Spiral path of consciousness and Bio-regensis, this is your time now to regenerate your template. The slide codes of Ortha, which are the, we get access to Ortha once we can work with the particles. So the angular rotation of particle spin has to be in correct alignment in order to access the codes of Ortha. But they're not yet integrated. And if we try to actually press and move through them, we would fry. You know, we're not ready yet for this. So these gates are not open yet. And that split between the fallen and the evolving is not yet, it's not completely split off because we're not in the Aquinos matrix via Ultha. So they actually begin the Starfire activations for the actual split. You know, when group of people start to evolve and the other group is definitely fallen and you have that definite split, they're called Starfire activations. These actually begin in 2047, so 23 years from now, and they last till 2230. And so it's, in the meantime, the next 20 years, it's so important to hold and spread awareness and keep activating D12 frequency, keep beaming those in the grids and anchoring the currents. We have to make sure we keep doing this, guys, because if we stop, no one else is doing them. So we really need to. We really need to keep doing that and keep enough energy here so we can make it through the Ascension passage. So this crystal spiral timeline, which is the Emerald Eye in reference to the Emerald Order, it successfully separates from the Metatronic Fibonacci Spiral timeline, or the Metatronic Yahweh Eye, through the Ascension of Inner Earth Ortha Starfire Aurora Continuum, which is basically an evac mission to, evac meaning evacuation mission, to M31, Aqueous Andromeda, where we fell from some 350 million years, or sorry, billion years. We are going back into that to evacuate out of this fallen time matrix. So this is the evac, is to take the Starfire activation, take the Ascension, so through the inner technologies, into the inner earth, and through to Eartha. So that's the safe or the higher frequency version of the earth. In New Age, they call it the higher earth or the new earth. So that's basically it, but it's not what they think it is. So we currently reside in that M33 Prosiac matrix, which is been given a lifeline to host the Christic people out, the Crystal River Trimatrix, cooperative councils of the Aquarian, the Wisala, and the Aquinos. They're the councils that have come together and decided they're going to help us with this D12 and over, so and beyond. So over D12 frequencies, beam it onto us, and it's supposed to help us. So it's actually supported by the Aquafarian shield, which connects to Andromeda all the way. So it holds the indigo shield, and so indigos who are working and remembering who they are and activating, they will be helped and help to reset their divine blueprint and make it out through the evac mission. So these Aquari bendy races, the races that live outside of this, our time matrix, are actually gifting us the Earther codes to escape out of this prison planet. It's prison planet, not because we hate this prison planet, because everyone's suffering, da 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 da. It's not that. It's actually falling. So sadly, we need to get out, because if we don't, we're just going to fall into the Wizardrek, and the Wizardrek timeline, which is Phantom, which is a black hole. And I don't think there's many people out there that would willingly choose to go that way. I mean, why would we? So you'd only opt to go there if you like to be controlled and be in a hive mind collective and be told what to do and lushed for energy, and then your time is finite. Why would anyone choose that path knowingly, So we have to evac, and that evacuation plan is what we've got available right now, to take the Christic people. And the Christic people are not like us, oh, we're special, we're better than everyone. It's only because we are able to activate because of our templates. So people who want to do it have to do the work and start activating their templates using plasma body activation techniques. And it's available to everyone. It's not like it's just being given to a select few, God's chosen or whatever. So these Aquari bendy races, like I was saying before, they're gifting us the Earther codes to escape out of this prison planet, where our codes were originally encrypted to the Amenti gates, which fell in 2003, meant that we became trapped. So how do we ride, and how do we ensure we ride the ascension wave? In order to achieve this Aurora platform timeline, we actually must balance two things. So, like I said before, two things are super essential if you want to ride this frequency wave and catch the train out of here. First is reclaim your spiritual mechanics. Build your Earth Triveca Merkaba so you don't combust while going through the Earth's portal out. Okay, so that's super important. And the second is make sure we have safe community, uncontaminated resources in order to hold space for other people to come together. We call them Garodrome Ascension Quantum Zones because it's built on D12 frequency. So it's like if you wanted to build one in Europe, you have people come there and you do the round tables and you beam that place with D12 frequency. And you build it up and you keep it, you sustain it, you keep that shield happening. And when the time comes, that whole place will go into Earther Ascension passage instead of fall with the rest of it. So that's what the Garodrome spots are. And they're like islands built on Earth. They're called Ascension Earth, islands if you like. So I want to talk a little bit more about the Starfire Ascension Path, also known as the Aurora Platform. So what will happen between 2047 and 2047, getting the dates mixed up, 2047 and 2230. So in the next 200 years or so from now, the Starfire activations actually start in 2047 and they host up till, like I said, 2230, where the gates will close. And when the gates close, it creates a deadlight quarantine zone. Like lockdowns. Have you heard that term before? Well, that's kind of what they want to program us to subscribe to, that notion of, someone can just lock us down here because it's a prison planet right now, and sadly so. So this quarantine will close everyone in, and what sustains it is like a deadlight, a artificial called Shauna deadlight. So at 2230, the year 2230, the crust shift apocalypse will occur in conjunction with heavy radiation called the D1 red pulse, and this will cause damage because, we can't hold that red pulse radiation. A little bit of radiation we can hold within our template, but too much radiation, that special kind of radiation, we can't hold, not possible to hold within our template. So this will affect the entire solar system, and the Gelasiac rings of the sun's Bardoa death cycle will continue to rip through its Rasha dark matter body template until it experiences atomic compaction. This is our sun that you see visible through the naked eye. Just remember, we're in a binary sun system, so star system, which means there's two suns, one we can't see with the naked eye, one we can. So that will undergo molecular compaction or atomic compaction, and therefore will cease to exist. Okay, because of they actually flipped the sun's codex completely. It's been manipulated big time, and it can't sustain its life beyond 2230. And so the sun dying due to the abuse of the Merkaba field. You know, when you infiltrate someone, you infiltrate the Merkaba field. You mess it up with frequency, right? With frequency, light, and sound, especially sound. So you mess it up, and then it creates a distorted Merkaba field. Then you can do basically anything to it that you want to do. And, and then not so nice beings that want to, reduce this place to nothing so they can suck it all up and take it down into their phantom matrix, so they can loosh on the energy that's coming out of this place. So not very nice, but genius level plan. So the sun dying is due to the abuse of the Merkaba fields by the various fallen angelic, using its energy to feed their beast machine and artificial wormhole configurations. And thus it caused a prana spasm to soul, which is soul is the sun that you see in the naked eye, and that's Stargate 4 in our time matrix, which essentially means it's had a heart attack. So yeah, not very good. Now, how do we still have the sun right now when it's undergone so much damage is because these beautiful beings from other time matrices, the aquiline sun is stabilizing our sun from these time matrices. So they're beaming it with their frequency from another aquiline sun and keeping it the way it is just for the time being. But time is ticking, so it's bound to, can't be sustained. If you're getting something from another place that's not directly connected to the Supreme Being, that's not eternal. That's a finite, got a finite time on it. So yeah, it's bound to stop one day and go out of existence. So yeah, and this is just to keep us here until we can anchor the D12 energies and join the Starfire activations and go through the evac. So we're being fed these transmissions from the sun that's being anchored through the aquiline sun, so we can braid in the organic natural crystal plasma into the core 13 grids, meshing our core with Earth's core, so we can make the quantum leap away from the AI, dead light Shauna. Okay, so dead light Shauna, Metatronic hibernation, net zones, and cloud technologies. The mission of the 144,000 is to help support the evacuation Starfire mission. So we hear a lot about solar flares. What are solar flares, and is it true? Are they the path to enlightenment? Will they save us? Are we getting all beamed and we're all going up and ascending into 5D? You hear that in the New Age community. No, the sun isn't going to save us. And I got this from Jamie Phillips, who's writes a lot about this stuff, and he's really amazing. So thank you, Jamie, and I'm just going to read a little bit about what he said about this. He said, "The sun is not going to save you in a solar flash. This is a hypnosis hoax story purposely orchestrated and spreading throughout the spiritual online spaces to prevent us from taking action in building gyrodromes." You know, it makes so much sense, doesn't it? So instead, we're just captured here and reliant on the internet, so we stay within the walls of the AI Black Cube software. Okay, so the D1 red pulse will wipe out life on the atomic level. The same thing, by the way, happened in the Gaian and the Orion Wars. And in the fall of the Brunei incident here on Earth in 208, 216 BC. The mission of the 144,000 is to help support the evacuation Starfire mission, aiding in assisting and anchoring the Aquiferian shield host. So we have an escape route for those who can reclaim their organic DNA via letter codes and assemble a correct genetic alphabet that bonds with the natural hydrolase spirit water and the Ilom Iradona spirit body, freeing themselves from the Baphomet, electrostatic, false spirit, hermaphrodite, slavery, overlord architecture. He said that perfectly. I couldn't have said it better. So, all right, so who are the 144,000? They're the planetary evac team, or the skeleton crew, the fundamental bare bones for anchoring this messianic passage to the Garden of Eden, the original Garden of Eden. So are we in evacuation? Yes, absolutely, we're in evacuation. As I explained, Plan A, Ascension Earth, and the Bridge Zone project is to move the entire planet out of the fallen angelics' frequency fences, which has failed in 2003 because the main stargates of Amenti were compromised and had to be forced shut. So I already discussed why that happened. So in essence, Tara 5D timeline is no longer an option because the whole system, because 5D timeline is actually corrupted and the whole system is attempting to evac as the original 5D Cathar passage to Tara has been reversed because, you know, the Vatican's doing a lot to reverse that 5D Stargate, so that's been manipulated and compromised. It's no longer an option. There's something called the D13 Mother Arc. It's the blue flame primal light field Stargate portal that encodes the blue flame light into the universe through the ecatic level of the primal sound fields. This ecatic level then arcs back to the flame of love at the center of the God worlds called the Stairway to Heaven, or the Christic Spiral that holds the Unisei being God, basically. So holds the Unisei law of one consciousness. So that's the Mother Arc Blue Flame Primal Light Field, and that's getting also activated right now as we speak. So it can help with the reversal frequencies. Now, something intercepts the Christic Spiral. As we know, the Christic Spiral is not the same as the Fibonacci Spiral. Fibonacci tells a fib. So, Christic Spiral is the original spiral, and the Fibonacci is the counterfeit spiral. And what intercepts the Christic Spiral is negative ETs and fallen angelic technology, namely the beast system and the Metatronic Phantom lenses. They intercept the Christic Spiral. So that's in our way to ascension. That's the challenge that we've got to overcome. We've got to come out of the Metatronic lifestyle and indoctrination and programming. They want to activate, those fallen ones want to activate the beast and its full antichristic D13 reversals so they can split the sorry, so they can split the energy siphoned from our time matrix to Phantom, who get the D6, and the Nephilim Wizard X get the D7. So the D6 and D7, they're the gates they're using. The beast takes over the heart in humans if it's not strong enough. Like if if you hate too much, or if you're not a loving person mainly, and you fall for anything, if you shut down, you're not working on opening up your heart to a healthy level and loving yourself, then that's going to take over you, this AI programming, and it's going to reverse your templating through that reversals, D13 reversals, using the Sword of Michael, and that sword runs through the heart, just as the D13 activations, the blue flame body activations run vertically, yes, and in a healthy way. This is the opposite. It's running down, and it's reversing you down, running through the heart as well. So that reversal D8 hijacks some of the D5, which is the Tara blue star energy, to create a reversal D5. That's why they're compromised. So D5 Tara is compromised. It's not the way out of here. As the New Age teachings are telling us that, oh, just, be love and light and forget about everything evil and where you come from. We're all one. It's just all, what is that word that they use? Have no resistance. And that's just so that you stop resisting and you accept what you've been told is true. And you will be reversed because you're not doing anything about activating your frequency. You're just, like they say, you're just taken with the current, unknowing, not knowing the destination, where it's taking you. So that reversal D13 is actually using reversal D8 from Stargate 8 and reversal from D5, and it's reversing the current, creating a reversal D13. At D8, if you know the Cathar template, look at D8, and there you will see that it's right in the middle with D5. It's the heart of the whole, it coincides with chakra 8 too, which is a very important chakra. And it falls below the collarbone and above the actual heart, D4. And very important, very, very important chakra, and very important Stargate, That D8 intercepts the crystal spiral and reverses the flow to feed the black hole system and the beast energy harvesting technology, which means it actually feeds the Fibonacci spiral. That's their timeline, the negative timeline they're living on. That's different mathematical coding. So when you look at people like Jane108, on Instagram, don't want to name names, but that's one just come to mind. That's an account that's pushing Metatronics and reversals to the sky. The Fibonacci spiral, this and this, and the pi and all that. The mathematics that we've been taught are not actually sacred mathematics or geometry, so they're all built on the Fibonacci spiral, which is basically to hijack our consciousness and take us down to feed their system. Okay, so we've successfully contributed to their system for a very long time, but now that we're awake, we really need to get out of that very, very soon. If you're not yet, you need to think about, okay, I'm going to leave all the programming, because what you get on the net is actually written by them as well. They're feeding you their agenda, what you need to know, and they're calling it science. So be careful, guys. Don't fall in that net. Don't fall in the trap and snares. The Fibonacci is pretty dangerous because what it does, it intercepts with the Christic Spiral, and it runs down, and it runs on a different mathematical coding, completely different. Okay, like if you're trying to make an apple, it turns out like genetically modified apple with a bit of orange in it, or pear or whatever. It turns out something different. But you don't want that. You want you want it to be the natural, the organic, mathematical codex, the natural one, without any changes to it. So that Fibonacci sequence plugs you into the Hive Mind electrostatic body frequency, which is electricity basically recycling in and out of your body endlessly. You know, you're meant to run electromagnetic energy. You're meant to run a Merkaba field that's counter and anti-clockwise, so both. The bottom one spins anti and the top one spins clockwise. So top one's masculine, bottom is feminine, top one's electric, bottom one's magnetic. And they have to spin at a certain ratio. The New Age teachings are teaching us to run it in the same direction at a certain speed, which takes you into the phantom, basically. So you're getting out of here. You're dislodging from the crystal spiral that you've been plugged in, naturally plugged in, and you're joining the Fibonacci spiral. And so these have empiric energies, these D13 blue sword anti-Christic currents of Archangel Michael is the combination of 5, D5 and D8 makes 13, and the D13 is a reversal spiral. And this takes you into the phantom grid. And it's the total opposite to the Amoraea blue flame, which is the flame of love that supports the Cathar grid Vecca framework and the Ruche pillar, the Ruche pillars that go all the way up to source. That's the architecture that was built for us to move interdimensionally from one place to the next using our Merkaba. So that's been taken away from us because they've compromised all the grid works. The other form of energy harvesting they use is the blue cube. No, not blue. Sorry, talking about blue for too long. Moving away from blue now. Black. So black cube. And you know that emoji, the black heart, you should immediately stop using that because that's an implant. So the black heart of Anubis. So that black cube is also, it's called the Tesseract because it's 3D. It's a massive, excuse me. Just have a sip of water. Is a massive humanitarian harvesting station. It's, look at the black cubes around the world. Where do you think they're situated? Just have a look and have a think. And where you see that black cube, make that connection. That's where they're harvesting your energy through those stations. So they're harvesting stations, they're human platforms, human farming platforms. And they're made in the shape of a cube because once you're in a cube, it's so hard to get out of a cube. It's generates and exists from things like unresolved core world wounding, triggers, cataclysmic events, you know, like the 9/11 events, the significant world wars. That's what they feed, and what sustains them is wars and control and subjugation and manipulation, control of women. You know, I made a very big post on Facebook about gender wars and how there's been a very long era of, like, you know, patriarchy dominating, and then before that the feminine were dominating, you know, the priestess, the, you know, anyway, you can read that, it's on Facebook, which I will make into a podcast one day. But it's very interesting to see those dynamics play out, and that's all to keep us in that duality programming. So we're female bodies, we're against males. When we're males, we're against females, we try to control, and then, you know, it's back and forth like a ping pong. You know, that's the duality system that we should not be a part of as Christics. These black cube system that runs everything, the banking systems, the everything. They feed on our traumas. They feed on the death of our culture, killing our cultures and making us all under one world government. So we have no culture, so we don't know the roots of our ancestors and where we come from, our galactic families. So we don't have any trace of these because they want to make farms, human farms, so they can loosh on us. And if we remember who we are, then we're a threat to their agendas. That's why they don't want us to remember anything. They want to siphon the life form out of us. And they want to suck it all into the black hole system. They're using the 666 wormhole technology, which most of you well know. It's a wormhole network running in the Atlantic Ocean, connecting 4 different wormhole locations in the Earth's body. The Bermuda Triangle, that's one of them, connecting to the Statue of Liberty, connecting to Spain, Azores, Spain, and then Inishmore Island. So that's like the 4 locations that make a cube. Surprise, surprise, cube. And these are the 4 locations where they're running wormhole technologies from, connecting them all together, and they're trying to suck everything into those wormholes. So pretty ingenious level stuff, but very diabolical, very evil. And one thing that I noticed New Agers do is they try and undermine evil or even dismiss the fact that evil exists, because there's no way all this is just benevolence and love and unconditional love running our world. Look around you and see that. Tell me that not everything is running on the principles of love and the law of one. Only tiny percentage, and that's considered like odd. If you're a loving person, you even look down upon in some cases. So love is definitely not ruling the world. It's something else, and that is control. There's no free will. It's a prison planet, and not trying to be here like really negative or a pessimist or anything, but it's very obvious. If you want to admit it, it's obvious. So we are in a rescue mission. The fallen consciousness group want to do is they hijack the living Merkaba structure of the inner earth spiritual living light body and plug the host into a greater black hole system. And they're using the D13 portal and currents that connects with the echo worlds, and they're running the D13 portal but in reverse. So they're using D5 and D8 energies combined, and they're running the D13 in reverse. But where you're running the Christic Spiral is running on a D13 frequency that connects with the echo worlds and plugs into the Andromedan Aquinas matrix, which is hosting and supporting our ascension, through the Andromeda system. And it's providing Aurora and Crystal River, Aquiline and Eartha and Aquafarian fire letter codes. So our templates can be regenerated for the Starfire. I know they're big words, but that just simply means it's an ascension process, and we're being given those frequencies, and what we need to do is activate using the D12 seal shield, and plasma fire body activations or flame body activations. We need to do those as a minimum. As a minimum, run D12 frequency. As a minimum, even not doing the flame body activations if you just want to stick to the bare minimum, and just being good people, thinking about how we can not only serve ourselves but serve the greater good. Those small things that we do to serve animals, to serve the earth, to serve other humans, just being, productive members of society in some way. But not in the matrix per se, not like, going help pay someone's phone bill or something, you know, because it's still in the matrix. But like, you know, maybe growing food and sharing that food around with love and beaming some D12 frequency into it. Or, you know, recoding crystals, which we do, and throwing those crystals in like water bodies, waterfalls, just to help, you know, if we all do it, we can make a big difference, because it's very high frequency running D12. So you don't need like 8 billion people to counteract. You just need a few thousand to counteract all the grid works, the reversed grid works. So yeah, the answer to that, so the ascension is through Gyrodrome's Arc of the Covenant travels, okay, the path of Amoraea, which we've been given, which we'll begin hosting in 2047. And I want to talk about the flame of love, because I love and I love to talk about love, and especially after a very, I guess, negative talk before about being sucked into the phantom and all this talk. I'd like to talk about what that means to anchor the flame of Amoraea, or the flame of love. So like I said, it's anchored in the higher echo world outside of this time matrix that we're in. We're living in a 15-dimensional matrix system. This flame of love will and is currently being anchored here slowly, and what it does, it burns away everything that's not pure, anything that's not in alignment with the Christic Spiral and with eternal consciousness is being burned away. And you can see that if you just witness the world, don't judge, and don't just come from a place of observation as a pure witness and take a look at what's happening. You can start to see bits and pieces falling that are part of the matrix. They're just falling and they're coming off, you know. And these things are actually don't hold the pure codex. They're being burnt away by that flame of love, that flame of Amoraea. And what that does, it sends its higher vibrating sound fields through our matrix by arcing channels of higher consciousness called the Ruche pillars into this reality bubble. In a way, this is the Arc of the Covenant, or the Mother Arc, that connects the blue flame channels into our universe. That's the true ascension bridge. So our center point of our personal Cathar grid template, if you look at the Cathar grid template, which has got 12 points, 12 centers, connects us to the part of that template is connecting us to the flame of Amoraea. So organically, we're connected to the flame of love. We don't need to go search for love, because we're holding the flame of love within us. But whether or not you're still holding that flame, if it's ignited or not, that's entirely dependent on you and what you have chosen, and not only in this incarnation. So you have to ask yourself, you have to ask your higher self, is my flame anchored? Is it lit? Because you would know, being here, you know you are. So, you know, but when other people ask that question, you have to direct them to themselves. Only they know. And they can see the circumstances in their life. They can see how their life is playing out. They can see what frequency they're predominantly on day in, day out. That will tell them how they feel about other people. Do they see people as reflections of themselves, or do they see distance and aversion and hate and animosity? You know, that's all indication of whether that flame, the Amoraea flame, the flame of love, is ignited or not in one's own heart. So we have to go back to that and ask if we still have that lit or not. No one can answer that for us. So these Ruche pillars are sent into this reality bubble. In a way, this is the Arc of the Covenant and the Mother Arc. And so the center point of our personal Cathar grid template connects us to the flame of Amoraea, which perpetuates life force currents into and out of our internal Templar complex. It's actually the location of the Christos seed atom within our morphogenetic field. So, yeah, the Christos seed atom. The connection point for establishing and maintaining a two-way flow and a direct connection to the eternal and internal divine flame of Amoraea, which emanates its cleansing spark flow, which downstep from the central point of all union, aka the Unisei, which many people call it God, or the Supreme Being, the higher force, the Great Spirit, at the core of the cosmic matrix. The flame comes directly from God into the hearts, our hearts, and you have to find that connection to find your way back home. So now is the time to use this information and to use this technology to support the grids here. We're not here alone, disconnected from the earth and everything else. We're here as part of this big mechanics of grid works, this big massive structure that we're a part of. And so we need to get together to really challenge and take down the beast, which is the artificial general intelligence, because it's growing in strength, it's growing in power, and people are taking that path knowingly. They know that they're going to be controlled, and they're still choosing the AI path. So think about what you're doing every day and how you're using that technology. Are you using Christic technology more than AI, or are you plugged into AI and forgetting who you are? You need to really answer that honestly, because that's going to determine where you're going with all this. Are you on ascension? Are you regenerating? Or are you degenerating your DNA? So we need to connect with each other as well, like we're doing here, and this platform's going to grow because we're going to take it to the next level very soon, and we're going to connect personally with people, and we're going to sit in circles, and we're going to run that D12 frequency, and we're going to do it from a place of oneness and a place of authenticity and a place of pure love for all, for ourselves and for all. We're going to do this, and it's going to be a major success because that's our mission. And as a twin flame couple here, we actually feel so much love and so much, it makes us really emotional talking about this, but we feel like this can't wait any longer. We really, really, really need to do this. We feel the urgency in our blood. We feel like it's really sad, but it's not something that we cannot overcome. So many people have switched off their sensitivity and have decided to not feel anything because of past trauma or apologies. Because they want to block out that deep pain within, and we empathize with these people, but running away is no answer. We need to find a better way than running away. We need to dive into it. We need to face the beast. We need to face it head on. We need to acknowledge that it's there. Please stop denying there's evil. That's the first thing you can do. Please, please, please stop denying that evil exists, because it does exist. Just acknowledge that for once, and you actually feel better, because I was one of those deniers. I didn't want anything to do with evil, bad people, C2 fighting. I'd walk away. If there's drama anywhere, I'd walk away, and I pretend that it's not there. I just sit in my own light and love bubble. I realized, it didn't take me long, by the way, because I'm an indigo. I can feel it on a soul level. I felt like I was going against my own instinct, and I felt like I wasn't being genuine. I wasn't being authentic. I felt like, I don't have to go separate the two that are fighting or anything, but if I just stood there and beam frequency of love, you could actually separate a fight. You could stop a fight even. You can actually make anything happen with frequency. That's our weapon. Frequency is the weapon. So we need to support each other. We need to come together. We need to acknowledge our wounds and healings, which is why I decided to run healing courses in the first place. And that's been a huge success. A lot of people have overcome inner child wounds and healings and have now running a D12 frequency and quite happy, change their reality, transform their lives and minds. It makes a huge difference. We're part of the Christos realignment mission, and the Paladorian rescue mission is to help restore the D12, D13 sites so we can allow transmission of the Aquafarian, Aurora, Aquaribendi, Aqualine, and Crystal River Collective to fuel the arc energy to the Shala 13 gates for Urtha Ascension, Starfire. So this is big. What I've just said is huge. It's a big evac mission, but deep in my heart, I feel so much joy doing this. So much joy because I feel partly responsible for others as well, but I feel a great love. It's the main drive for me to be here doing this. And I'm someone who actually didn't have a voice before. I grew up in a house with a father who suppressed my voice completely. So now to be able to be here and speak about all this openly, that's a miracle actually. And I don't just give credit to myself, I give credit to these teachings as well for allowing that flow, that Amoraea flame to flow through me and really open me up to my mission and being here and speak authentically and speak truth on this platform. And so, yeah, it's now the time to step up into the Azura throne of power. And this is at the nape of the neck, just above the center of the collarbone. This is the core and energetic power point. It means an Anuhazi, the center point of eternal creation. Now is the time to do this work. And I want to acknowledge the work of Jamie and Chantel Phillips as well, who they are also known as Jamie and Chantel Goldray, because they're indigos also doing the work that we're doing. We're standing along on this path, standing together, doing the work together. We're both twin flame couples, and we're united in this mission. We're not competing with anyone. We're not competing with them or they compete with us. I mean, I've taken a lot of this, what I said today is a lot of Jamie's work as well. So I thank him and acknowledge his work. A lot of it is mine. And yeah, we work together. We're not competing, we're working together, and this is how it should be. And I want to thank you as well for being here, all of you, being here today and supporting our channel. And watch this space, because this space is going to be massive. We're going to put Ash's videos back on under new podcasts, and they're going to be recreated so they don't get taken down. Just watch this space and see how it's going to evolve. We're very excited and happy and grateful for being here together with you, with all of you. So thanks again, and leave your comments below, share, subscribe and like. Much love from both of us and from the whole Christic community here. Much love. See you next time. Bye.